Do you, Nish, do you think you are a good friend? Nish Kumar, welcome to the Dream Restaurant.
We are in the room of the Dream
We're
Restaurant.
recording on the set of Off Menu.
We've changed the logo on the telly.
I've never done Off Menu in this studio. I did Off Menu at a time where Off Menu was still recorded in the meeting room at James and my agency office.
Oh, wow.
So you can just, there would just be people in the background just like talking about deals. Just in the background of us chatting about dinners.
I remember listening to it, like we all started listening to it, like the comedy community and people that were friends with and also just fans of those two. And then you still were kind of listening to it as like, oh, my friend started a podcast.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice. And everyone felt like they were doing it not as a favor, but like, yeah, I'll go on my friend's podcast,
Yeah.
sure.
I'm sure that's
Now
what
it's
Robert De Niro
fucking
thought.
hell. Yeah. Strangest guest to me of all time, in a great way. Terry Hatcher. Anyways,
No, strangest guest for me, I mean, I don't think anything could ever top De Niro. I don't know
No.
that there was any way
Dan Aykroyd.
I would ever see. Well, Dan Aykroyd is at least within the comedy community. So it's not, I don't think it's quite as strange as Rob. Until they get a serving politician on, I think De Niro will be the strange.
Yes.
Until we're listening to
Well,
Zoran
that's
Mamdani's
Yeah.
Dream Restaurant menu.
Very much more your territory. Actually, if on your show you wanted to ask people about food, that would be how that would happen.
I'll tell you what, I ask them every week, and every week they cut it out. Every week, I start by asking a political figure or political journalist,
Yeah.
poppadoms or bread. They look at me like I'm an idiot, and
Yeah.
it gets snipped out.
What's your dream policy?
What's your dream policy?
Not a bad question.
Welfare cuts or tax increases?
But welcome. Thank you for coming on Fwends. Welcome to Fwends.
I mean, it's not dissimilar, this show, in that we have 4 pre-prepared questions. They're not...
Yeah.
you know.
And also, I'm friends with all of you, and
Yeah.
we've
True.
started by talking about my only 2 other friends.
They might come up.
Yeah, talking about friends with friends.
I guess
Perfect.
that's 5 of us now, so you got to knock 1 out.
Hey, 6, Amy Annette, my girlfriend.
True. La-di-da.
My gran, she's friends with me. Well, she's not all there mentally anymore, but she's still my friend.
Hey, sometimes for a friend, that's better.
That's ideal.
But we do start the podcast asking a question that we don't tell the guest about.
Oh, here we go.
Brexit. What are your thoughts? Do you, Nish? Do you think you are a good friend?
Yes. I mean, I think so. I think I'm a pretty good friend. I think I try really hard. I think there are times where I could be more attentive and actively engaged with people. And I definitely think that maintaining correspondence with me is an up and down. I think it can be because of my because of the bees that live in my brain, a condition which clinical psychologists have referred to as ADHD.
ADHD.
It means that
Got a full hive in there.
Yeah.
people keep saying to me that it's a superpower, and you're like, yeah, but it's like a superpower. It's like if Superman every 4th time he like blasted off to fly, shit himself.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's why he has the second pair of
Yep.
underpants outside. Like that's how it feels a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But
But it gives me the shits when people say like, but isn't it a wonderful superpower? It's like, I don't know where I am right now. It's not a superpower.
Yeah.
But like generally, I think I like to think of myself as somebody. Well, certainly a lot of my self-image is bound up in being a good friend to people, I would say. I think I like to see myself as someone who's a good friend to people. And I think that in correspondence terms, there are times where it feels like you can't get rid of me. And then there are other times where I've not replied for weeks.
Yeah.
But I think generally, the best thing you can say about me is that I am trying to be a good friend at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Generally.
What does it mean to you to be a good friend? What does that look like?
Oh, yeah, that is...
Thank you. I've been here this whole time.
I think it's a great sign when one of your co-hosts says, that's a great question, actually, with a hint of slight surprise in their voice.
Well, I think the surprise there is, how have we not thought of that before? I mean, we're quite deep into this. Yeah.
Honestly.
I think, to me, being a good friend is somebody who you can. I think it's about checking in on people, I think, as much as possible. I think it's about being there for people. And then I think it's also about being able to share the highs and lows of the human experience. Like your ideal friend is somebody that you can go to the discotheque.
Okay.
You can head out to your local
You
night
haven't
spot.
been to a good friend for a while.
Your local jive house. That sounds like a brothel. Your local.
Well, I remember because we met at 54. And, you ever talk to Johnny anymore?
I think it's somebody who you can share in those positive times and also in the negative moments of life. It's somebody who your ideal friend is somebody who you could accompany to a birthday party or a funeral, I would say. I think that's the thing. And also, as you get older and as I do more therapy for my various emotional problems, one of the things that I keep getting told is you have to understand that there are different people for different needs. And actually not everybody can fulfill all of the elements of friendship. And so it's about cultivating a kind of, X-Men team of friends who have different superpowers. And so that's also something that I've sort of learned as I've got older. And I think, I think broadly you need people that can either be there for the highs or either be there for the lows. And in an ideal world, you have a couple of people that can do both.
In that X-Men group of people, what do you think you are for people?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Dark Phoenix.
Wolverine? Short guy, angry, sideburns.
Lovely nails.
Lovely nails. Always an excellent manicure.
Yeah.
But I tend to agree with
At a
you.
moment's notice as well.
Actually, Tom Neenan, who's one of my great friends, one of the points I knew that I would always be friends with him was when we met at university. And when we were at university, we were in a conversation and somebody, I think quite early doors. And so I think people were like throwing out conversation topics. But the conversation came around of what your superpower would be. And both of us at the same time said Wolverine. Like if you could pick a superhero, I think what you were supposed to say is like fly or be invisible or something, and we both went Wolverine. Wolverine.
The thing that used to strike me even when I was a kid is that he's a heavy smoker, and of course you would be. He's just remaking his lungs every day.
Yeah, he's immortal.
Like he can do anything. I'd be doing heroin.
Yeah,
like
All
I'd
the
be.
vices,
Can kill, cannot be killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Not a bad
what
superpower.
a trait. I would say though I tend to agree with you. I think you are a good friend. Speaking as your friend, you are a very available person, but you will also let us know if you are not available.
Sure.
Like as you've got, and I think that is a very important thing in
Yeah.
our modern times. Like people that are almost stretching themselves too far to make themselves available to you, and it actually doesn't help the relationship.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like you are such a busy person that when we've like stayed with you and stuff, it's like, and so when we do have you, it's like we're all in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good friend.
We're all
I
in.
think.
We're watching 30 Rock.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no. We don't see each other that often, and then when we do, there is also no stakes to it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's a good marker of a friend, where it's not like, and we need to go to Big Ben because I need to show it to you.
Do you think though to become a close friend with someone you have to kind of go through a bit of a low together? Like, do you think you have to do a bit of heavy work in order to properly lock in as a close friend?
I don't know.
Do we need to
actually.
kill someone together?
Do you need to have a terrible shared secret? I mean, I think the nice thing about befriending people, without wishing to exclude you, Georgia, from this, the nice thing about befriending people through long comedy festivals, be it Melbourne or Edinburgh, is that quite naturally you will accompany people through some highs and lows.
Shared trauma.
Yeah. Quite naturally, you will accompany people through some undulations in mood.
Yeah.
And so I think it really does help.
Yeah.
It's quite a specific experience, but it really does help. Because even though actually nothing terrible is... like, if you're just doing a festival and nothing externally terrible is happening, nothing bad has happened to you. You're just doing a long stint, a month of shows. Sometimes you almost always not in your home city. I mean, there are times where you've both lived in Melbourne when we've been doing Melbourne, like the last couple of years, but it's also a bit different now. Everybody's status has changed a little bit, so the lows are no longer what they were 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, when we were all doing festivals together, you quite naturally, I think, experience some highs and some lows.
Looking for an egg.
Yeah, well, I feel like
Everyone's just bumping off around, just trying to.
looking for an egg.
I'll say this: that is some of the drunkest sperm I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they're not finding that egg.
Nah.
We do not want that baby. We do not want that baby.
Yeah.
Baby is going to be fucked up.
I think I find the comedy community quite interesting in terms of friendships and things. And we talk about this a bit as well because, like, obviously, I'm a musician.
Georgia watches us like a zoo.
But you're very part of the comedy community,
Well-
regardless of being a comedian or
Your
not.
songs are hilarious.
We all laugh
They're
at them.
very serious.
Wait, that was serious? I've been laughing my head off. I thought you were like Flight of the Conchords.
I'm a close witness. But
You're friends with, obviously, these two. You're friends with a lot of British comedians, but you're very much part of the kind of British and Irish comedy social groups as well.
yeah,
Part of
but
the ecosystem.
but
You also pulled one of the classiest moves. Amy talks about it all the time. When I saw you in September, I was coming back from doing a gig in Manchester, and I met you and James Acaster and Stuart Laws in the station, and then we were all going to a big karaoke party where there were loads of comedians. And again, you're very much just part of the community. But the only distinction was that when you got there, you did not sing. And afterwards, Amy was like, that's one of the classes. Because Amy was like, she could have blown everyone's minds. She could absolutely have just blown everyone's minds, blown everyone out of the water.
Yeah.
And at one point, Amy was like, George, you going to sing something? We went, no. And Amy was like, that's classy. That is so classy. That was the only sign to me that you were not a comedian, because you chose not to sing because you knew you were packing some fairly serious heat vocally. And it might not be good for a lot of these stand-up comedians' self-esteem.
Especially given that you can crack a lot of very funny jokes. So established you can do what they do. They cannot do what you do.
that's not true.
It was just so classy.
That's so funny. But I think in the musician community, often I'm kind of quite jealous of comedians because you do spend a lot more time together. And I think that's because you do things like a festival for a month where, you're in the same place. It's kind of like extended school camp.
Yeah.
But you do kind of go through the trenches.
Yeah.
Or you do line-up shows where you see each other all the time.
Yeah.
And that's quite bonding, obviously, like shared showbiz trauma. But also, I imagine, like, another thing that's quite different is that you're often in, like, I'm never really in a situation where I'm told or can see exactly how many tickets my friends are selling at the same festival, or like who's getting reviewed.
And we'll tell you.
And like, what did they review me and what did they review them? And like, we're all potentially going for the same award. And
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Whereas that, like, have you had to kind of do work to
That's true, because I guess
actively-
there's no best music award.
No, because it gets quite diffuse, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, there are awards, but it somehow doesn't feel as direct. It's not like, and
there's
we're all
best
here
comedy award.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do you know what I
at
mean?
this festival
Yeah.
that we are all doing a show in.
I think it's a specific type of comedian. Like, there is a type of festival comedian. You know, there are lots of comedians that do one or two festivals and then they go on TV and they do loads of TV. And there's comedians that it's getting increasingly difficult now just because of the changing nature of comedy clubs. But I mean, I'm talking to two comedy club owners about this, but it is slightly. There is a specific type of festival comedian that does Edinburgh, that does Melbourne, that does Montreal, that does Sydney, that like pitches up in these various festivals, and it's quite an It's sort of an odd, like quite a big part of my like friendship group are people that I've met because we were all just doing, and it's quite a sort of broad mixture of like Australians, Kiwis, Americans, Canadians. Like it's quite a sort of broad, but you kind of see the same people, especially because like when I was really doing a lot of them in 2014, 15, 16, to 2014 to 19 particularly, you just kind of see the same people and hang out with the same people and
Across the world.
And it means that and there is that interesting thing because there's a specific tone of friendship. Like even if we don't see each other very often, when we do see each other, you just pick up exactly where you left off because that's kind of how the friendship has been formed in a kind of intermittent state. So it's very resilient in that
and
way.
it's almost like traveling with friends, but you don't have to do the travel. Like as in, whether it be Montreal or something, there'll just be a group of us where like, hey, Rose wants to go look at the thing.
Yeah.
And we'll all just go look at something.
Also, Rose Matafeo is a great example of somebody who I made friends with through the festival circuit and then did subsequently live with. But like, and also Rose is the perfect person to bring up in those instances because Rose will go, hey, we should do something fun instead of just sitting
around.
Yeah. And you need some of those people. Like who will, like Ed Gamble will book a dinner. He will just book a dinner and then you will be going out for a nice meal. But the other side of what you're saying...
He's activity captain. Yeah.
But the other side of what you're saying is super interesting because I think you are thrust into a very sort of confined box for a month. And at the end of that month, one of you is going to, or like someone is going to win an award for the person who had the best month of the month. And so that is a weird thing. And it is interesting because you are, whether you like it or not, it's in the back of your mind. And I do think that's part of the reason, like the relationships that kind of survive that process of professional competition, even if you're not the most competitive person, it's not something you think about. It sort of forces its way into your mind, really. But if you are able to preserve friendships through that process, they come out very strong, I think.
Have you had to actively sort of work on things like competitiveness or jealousy or envy or
I think
comparison with friends?
I was never competitive from a sense that I wanted to win. I just never wanted to fall behind. Like that was the most important thing to me.
It can be really
And
helpfully
bear in mind,
motivating.
I'm fucking friends with James Acaster.
James is who's been going through my head this whole time when awards are talked about.
I was living with him through all of the years that he was being nominated for everything. But
he's Montreal's rising star. So
an award I presented to him when we were both, I'll say it, too hungover to be there.
Oh, we all were.
Presenting your friend an award is quite a humbling moment, potentially.
Well, I loved it.
Yeah,
I was thrilled. I was so excited.
It was genuine. He was giving James Acaster. This was 2022. So not even
either 22 or 23.
The Rising Star Award.
In 2022.
Wow. That's amazing.
And it was as soon as we
He's
knew that was
further
good.
to go.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
As soon as we knew, we were like, okay, well that's gonna be the game of us. But also the night before, we had all got super drunk. And at one point, just to speak to the insular nature of our group of friends, Zoe Coombs-Marr, who's also a friend of all of ours, came up to me and said, "Have you lot talked to anyone you don't know here?" And I was like, "No. Why would we?
No. Under what circumstances?
I've come here to drink with the same people I've been drinking with
the
for
Americans.
15 years.
No.
I'll talk to the Americans, but the ones I'm already friends with.
The colonies are meeting. Thank you very much.
I'll talk to Carl Kinane, but I'm already friends with him. I have no interest in new relationships at this point.
Oh, Carl Kinane is old America, not that new America everyone's talking about.
But it was my thing from the start of my career. And like also I started comedy having been at university with Ed Gamble, who was very quickly incredibly good at comedy. And so it's not just very funny, but was very funny quickly. And you also like understand that weird thing about comedy is that people get good at kind of different times.
Yeah, totally.
And so you like from the beginning, and I hope one day for Reese and me, we will be able to look at you both and say, we have got good.
Yeah, you're okay. You're rising to rising. You're rising to rising.
We've got a lot of thoughts, we just got to turn them into jokes.
But so my thing was never like, I got to win, I got to beat these people. But it was like, I don't want it to be embarrassing that I am friends with these people.
I relate to that very hard, like the not falling behind thing, because I think people confuse it with getting forgotten, like, and this relevance thing in comedy. But actually, what it is like, oh, I want it to make sense that I'm here.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that. I want it to make sense that, or I don't want to be a conversation that people have behind my back where people are like, oh yeah, it's just never quite.
Yeah,
well, it's sort of very motivating and inspiring and, you know, keeps you going. And actually, I think there's so much, not that either of you ever were, but I think there's a lot to be said for doing time at the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
Where you have to look around you and go, shit, okay, what are they doing?
Can't be with these cunts for long.
And then, like, even at music school, I remember being told early on, when you're forming a band, make sure that all the musicians in the band are better than you at music. So that's how you will get better.
Well, I definitely made friends with people that were better at comedy than me. So I definitely feel. Are musicians competitive with each other?
Well, I'm not in the same way because we're not in direct competition.
Yeah.
We're not in those kind of environments. Like,
and I think in a band, people
ever.
have a job. Like, I'm making this up, but
Yeah.
like within a band, you kind of have imagined quadrants of like what your job in the band is.
Yeah.
And I think comedy doesn't really
competitive
have.
within a band. God, yeah.
Yeah.
But
George
not
Harrison spending years being told he
between-
couldn't write songs by Lennon and McCartney. Like there's got to have been some competitive. Like All Things Must Pass may as well have been called "Fuck You, Paul" and "Fuck You, John."
Yeah.
We go, we're cool.
Love the octopus shot.
Within a band, whole different world.
Wow.
But between bands, I don't think so. Not really.
Right.
Because it's kind of, but you just don't hang out as much because you don't, except for festivals, but they're like a day and then you might not even see someone you're on the same bill with because
people are in and out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all your friends today, but what about friends years and years ago? Can you remember who your first friend was?
So I actually tried to think about this, and neither me nor my mother can remember the name of this boy. But I went to a kid's house when I was in.
Love that you spoke to your
kindergarten.
mum about this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I was
Aw.
like, "Who was that boy's name?" And my mum was like, "Because the thing is, the incident is, quite well documented in our family's law." So when I was at like preschool, I went to a friend of mine. I went to a kid's house at preschool. He invited me over, and his mum invited me over. So I must have been about 3 years old. Now, so bear in mind, at that point in my life, everybody was Asian. Okay, everybody in my life was Asian. Everything I consumed was Asian.
Okay,
So
I mean,
I went.
you sound like a conservative
Yeah,
politician.
it sounds. It sounds. I am very Asian, and that's why it's fine for me to say we should deport them. But so I went to this kid's house, and the reason it's part of my family's law is when I got home, my mum was like, "Did you have a good time?" And I was like, "Yeah, great." And my mum was like, "What did you eat?" And I was like, "Oh God, I don't even know." And my mum was like, "What did you eat?" And I was like, "Oh, I got hot tea bags." And my mum was like, "You got hot tea bags?" And I was like, Yeah. And my mum was like, "What? They served you hot tea bag ravioli?" I had never seen ravioli before. I didn't know what it was. I was presented with it. I thought, hot tea? I wasn't
guess we're
complaining.
eating
I didn't
tea.
come home and was like, you're not going to guess what these white people are up to, man. They like tea so much they're eating the bag after they finish brewing.
Bowl of bags.
I said... Yeah, that was my first comedy set. It was like a Def Jam set. It was in the late 80s. And I was there being like, white people be crazy. They're eating tea bags and shit. I've never seen anything like it. But at that point, my understanding of what food was pizza, Christmas dinner, and Indian food. That was all I knew. That was all, as far as I was concerned, the entire world ate pizza for a treat from Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
They ate Christmas dinner on Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Their dad didn't eat it because he would say things like, if I have that, it'll block me up for a week. And then everything else was Indian food. And then I went to
grew
a
up
white
in an
person's
Indian
house.
family.
Maybe you did.
Yeah.
Pretty similar.
Not dissimilar.
A lot of curries in the house.
That would be a great reveal.
What
for
a
this
thing to
podcast.
find out.
It turns out you and I are separated at birth.
Yeah, I was. We're doing our. It's a new version of Twins.
I say that.
Got a different charge to it.
I reference that about me and my brother all the time because my brother is like 4 years younger than me. He's also my friend. I love him. But he is like, you've never more clearly seen, the second one. They got it right with the second one. You've never more clearly seen two people being like, and occasionally my parents were like, yeah, we were pretty harsh with Nish. Like, my brother was like taller and leaner. Like, if you stand my brother and me next to each other, we look like, he looks like an iPhone, and I look like an iPhone from 10 years ago. Like, it's shorter, it's stubbier. When it gets hot, it just stops working. Like, it's that, like, the way that I always contextualize it is, it's like, we truly look like, if Twins was made now, they could use face swap technology and have, like, the Irishman and have the same actor play both parts. And me and my brother, because we look very similar, but he's like, he just looks cleaner. Like, everything about him looks cleaner. And you're like, it's really funny because you're like, we're twins, and I'm 100% the DeVito. I could not be more clearly DeVitoing. Like, it is unbelievable how much I'm the DeVito of me and my brother.
Do you remember, like, other than eating hot tea bags, do you remember, like, what you used to do with your friends at that age? What, with this kid, how you'd catch up, how you'd...
primary school,
Did you see him again, the teabag guy?
I don't think we went to the same primary school, so that's why none of us can work out what his name was. Then we went to, but I thank him for it.
Yeah.
And also, that's
Opened
why I
your
always
mind.
say, you got to have friends of different races. It's really important. It can open your eyes to a lot of different cuisines.
Yeah.
And I love Italian food now. And
Yeah.
now I'm an absolute bugger for a ravioli. So, like, we've all come around.
Yeah.
And
Making tea out of it.
Yeah.
you don't want to come to my house for pasta night. It's disgusting. Then when I was at primary school, there was a period where I didn't have any friends for like a year. I was very young in my school year, very young.
Oh, really?
And like, I did not take to school initially. Again, another important part of my family's law is on the first day of school, my mum said, "How was it?" And I said, "Yeah, pretty good." And I was like, "I don't think I'll be going back." And she had to be like, "No, you have to go back every." And apparently, I just burst into tears and was like I had thought school. It was like a sort of. You know,
try this.
Opt in, opt out.
And I was just like, you know what? I can see the appeal, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then my mum was like, you have to go every day. And so they used to like
Longer
buy
than
me.
you can possibly imagine.
They used to buy me crunchy bars because also like my mum at that point had to go to hospital for like a surgery thing that was like not massively, not like major, but major enough that she was in for a bit of time. So my dad used to have to take me to school, and my father was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is chaos. And so he just would buy me a crunchy bar every day. He'd be like, if you go to school, I'll buy you a crunchy bar. And they started buying me things to bribe me. So I still have a Batman pen that my parents bought me from the Tim Burton 89 Batman. I still have the pen lid. And it's the thing that one of the bribes to keep getting me to go to school. They had to, like, there was a rolling bribe.
Wow.
And then I really struggled at school, and I kept saying to my mum, I don't have any friends, this is a nightmare. And my mum was like, go up to people and tell them, do you want to be my friend? And I was like, that's not gonna, like, in retrospect, like, that's the worst advice you can give to a child, Peter.
Yeah.
What do you do? What are you smoking? But then eventually I did have a really good group of friends, and I can't remember what we used to. Like, we used to go around each other's houses. We used to, like, it was the sort of start of people having video games consoles, I think. But that...
Like a Mega Drive.
Yeah, a Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo. We used to kind of... We used to do a lot of, like... You know, we used to just, like, play whatever it was, you know. Probably, like, some game that is, like, you know, like... that now we would call indigenous and colonizers, you know, like that version of whatever those games were. We used to do a lot of that stuff.
There was a Jungle Book game that I was reading about recently that when you look at it now, you're like, and it was based on the Disney Jungle Book movie. And it's like, none of this is good. Like, trying to match that style of music in synth is bad news.
No, you can't play.
It's like, no, that's the wrong
that's
continent.
totally the wrong continent. Most of the Jungle Book soundtrack is like Louis Armstrong inflected jazz music.
Yeah.
You can't do those diminished sevenths on an 8-bit keyboard.
I want to be like you.
Yeah.
We used to, like, I guess we used to play football a lot and play also, like, you know, play a lot of, like, imaginary games. And, like, we all loved the Turtles. That is that era, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Are you still friends with anyone from that age?
I'm still friends with somebody I went to primary school with, but we kind of only became friends right at the end of primary school. But we are still friends today. And my friend Ollie, and we met playing cricket, and then found out we were at the same school. But we met. I used to play like club cricket when in Croydon
Yeah.
very badly.
Mm-hmm.
And Ollie and I just used to talk about diarrhea all the time. It's my main memory. We just used to talk about diarrhea all the time because it was hilarious.
Yes, bonding.
I stand by all of that comedy.
Yeah.
I stand by a lot of
Very
that. There's
funny.
definitely periods of my
universal.
comedy career that I don't stand by. I stand by all the diarrhea-based humour.
Yes.
And so so Ollie and I are like remain friends, and we actually ended up going to the same secondary school together.
Do you get something out of your friendship with Ollie today that you don't get from sort of comedy friends or people that you've met from university and after?
Well, the biggest thing for me and Ollie for a long time was diarrhea. Then it evolved into,
And that is lifelong.
and that's lifelong.
Yeah,
Diarrhea's
that-
for life, guys.
Yes, so true.
And then
For me, it has been. Yeah.
No, never lets up, actually.
Not enough Metamucil in the world.
But when we were at secondary school, a massive thing was Ollie and Andy and I would go and watch bands together, and we got into music. We got into the same sort of music. So Dylan, Stevie Wonder, Beatles, Velvet Underground. Like that was my anecdotes about being a teenager. If you just read the text of them, you would assume I was born in 1950.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I remember, God, I'll tell you what, I'll never forget the first time I heard the Velvet Underground and Nico. My friend Andy was like, you got to listen to this album. You got to listen to the Velvet Underground and Nico. Like an album that at that point was 33 years old. He was like, you got to listen to the Velvet Underground
But
and
then
Nico.
the Royal Tenenbaums came out, and because Nico and Velvet Underground is like a whole. I feel like there was a period where like I've been out walking, and suddenly a whole generation of people. I was like, yeah, I've known who these fucking people are the whole time.
Imagine how the parents felt.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was a massive thing for me, Ollie, and our friend Andy. Was like, so the first gig I went to was when I was 16. I went to see Bob Dylan at the now defunct London Arena. It's now a conference centre, and arguably it should have been at the time. It was still, the floor was still damp from the hockey match that happened.
Amazing.
So like that was a big part of us being friends. Like,
Was it a great show? Do you remember it?
I remember it viscerally.
Mm-hmm.
It was the best thing I'd ever seen. Like, it was the best thing I'd ever seen. Like, it was Bob Dylan. Like, it was,
Bob Dylan remains to be one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Well, there's different times.
different. You catch him on a. You catch him. It's varied. It's varied.
Yeah, over so many years.
Oh, it's varied night to night.
There's
That's true as well.
I do think though, like my dad is a Bob Dylan dad.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's a very particular type of dad.
Yeah.
And there is nothing you can say about Bob Dylan that will make them more like there was was it Christmas Day a few years ago that he released a 16-minute song about
Murder Most Foul, about the Kennedy assassination.
And my dad was like, and my dad and I get on really well and like talk about art all the time. And I like made a joke about it. And it's like one of the most tense conversations we've ever, like it was the closest my dad and I have gotten into a fight as adults, where he was like, well, what's your problem with it? I was like, Dad, it's a 16-minute song about the Kennedy assassination on
came out
Christmas
in
Day.
December, Christmas Day 2020.
Like, what do you mean?
There was a lot of other stuff going on.
What's right with it, Dad? He's like, well,
Someone's got to
I
say
just think
something.
he's a very creative guy. Like, fucking hell.
That's not even the weirdest thing he's done at Christmas. The weirdest thing he's done at Christmas was when he released a Christmas album. Love it.
We've talked about, traveling the world, and like, I think as comedians, we're put in positions where we have to make friends quite fast. So when we say fast friend, look at me trying to do a transition.
Yeah, it was good.
Trying really
Yes.
hard. And what made it bad is I called it out.
Yeah.
That's right.
When we say fastest friend,
So there's a few people that I thought of when you think about fastest friends, and some of them it's an interesting one. Like my friend Nikesh and I had not really met. We'd kind of met very, very briefly after one of my gigs, and he then sort of convened this like group of first, second, and third generation immigrant authors to write a book called The Good Immigrant. And so we'd barely spoken before I did the essay that he commissioned for that book. So we only corresponded really from the perspective of, this. And then we also corresponded a lot on Twitter in the kind of era where you made friends on Twitter. And then when we met in real life, you're
is
like,
that different now? What have I missed?
has.
I
You can still make friends.
I haven't been checking it lately. Has anything changed?
They'll be of a type.
I noticed the symbol on my phone changed. But that was a while ago.
That was a wild time, though, where you could genuinely make friends on Twitter.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are people that I met through through Twitter, and to an extent, I made friends with my friend Will McPhail because he was making fun of a GB News broadcast on Instagram, and I just messaged him and was like, "That's
Friends with
funny."
Will McPhail? Oh, like the illustrator? Oh my god, obsessed with Will
It was
McPhail.
because he was making fun of. There was a GB News report where someone had dug up one of his cartoons from like 5 years ago, and it was in a section called "The Big Opinion," and he just kept going, "Ooh, I've got a big opinion!" And I was like, "I'm gonna be friends with that guy. That's funny." But so Nikesh and I had all of this, and also we're both very good friends with Josie Long. So there is that interesting thing where when we actually sat down properly to like hang out for the first time, we were just like, "Oh, we have so much. We've been corresponding via email about this essay. We've talked so much on the internet. Also, he's a novelist, and I'd read his work. He'd seen my stand-up. So you're like you've shortcutted about 15 different stages
Yeah.
of getting to know somebody and becoming friends with them. And then when you sit in a room, there is like a weird bit of pressure where you're like, what if we just don't get on?
Yeah.
Like that would be quite weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, immediately. The first time I met my friend Bisha, again, like she's a comedian, she's a writer. We have many friends in common, but also she was very heavily co-signed by my partner, Amy Annette, who is, I'll say it, an annoyingly good judge of character.
Yeah.
An annoyingly, infuriatingly good judge of character. She is like, she reads people very, very quickly, and she gets a sense. I don't know how she does it. She's just got a really, really incredible instinct. And it isn't like, she's not like, she's not got a spidey. She's not like, no, I don't really like the vibe. She's like, specifically, I don't think you should trust this person for 4 reasons. And you're like, she's like got a dossier on them. And I'm like, when did you talk to them for long enough to build this impression of them?
Wow.
And so many times in the course of our relationship, she's been proved right about people being great, who I was wary of, and people being thumbs down,
Yeah,
who
Reece does
I
that
was
to me all
really.
the time.
It's amazing. It's an incredible talent.
ADHD is a superpower.
Yes.
Well, I've got the version that would definitely result in me buying magic beads. She's always like, you join a cult in a second. If someone was even vaguely nice to you for a second, you'd be in Scientology.
So do you sort of become fast friends with people and then run them past Amy?
Well, the thing with, sometimes, yeah. But like Nikesh, we had so much good, like build up that when we actually met, and he's like one of the people I'm closest to in the world. Like it's like, and also he sort of opened the gate to so many other, like he sort of built this kind of creative community of
Well, it's out of comedy as well, but it's still in creative.
yeah, it's still creative. And also he did start assembling all of us together. And there's like friends like my friend Vinay, who again I met through Nikesh, my friend Inua, Musa. These are all people that I met through Nikesh. Coco Khan, who I do the podcast with, I met through him. And it was amazing being in rooms with people because you were like, oh, I'm like the only one in my industry, or like I'm one of 2 or 3. Like the first time I met Ramesh Ranganathan, it was probably 2010, 11. It's another example of like a very quick friendship because we had literally been introduced on stage as each other at open mic gigs.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't, and like people had whole conversations with us about each other's material. And so the first time I met Ramesh, I was like, we kind of have to be friends.
Yeah.
We've like trauma bonded without ever being in the same room.
It's either that or mortal enemies.
Yeah, or mortal enemies. Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
so, yeah, and yeah. So those friendships are really amazing. I mean, the friendship I have with Ed Gamble happened very, very fast. So we met very briefly when we were both auditioning for a sketch group at university because we were both trying to get some pussy. And we thought, bang, university sketch comedy. That's how to impress. That's how to seem sexually viable.
Yeah.
It was either that or gay comedy.
I am recoiling.
That would
I'm
be the
putting
two
clothes
things.
on.
Similar
All at
amounts
the
of
stage
pussy.
door.
People are locking up their genitals
Yeah.
as we speak.
Yep,
And so
yep.
we met like very briefly.
Lock up your genitals, boys. The footlights are in town.
Not just boys, girls, and gender-neutral people, because none of you are going to want to fuck what's about to happen on this stage.
That is a dry wind passing through. My God. That is a desert wind.
The boners are soft, the fannies are full of sand. Let's do this. We met briefly when we were auditioning for the sketch, and I really do remember this. And also, I'm just such a, like, my first instinct is to say the stupidest thing possible at any given time. And I thought it would be funny when we were in this, like, waiting room waiting to go into audition for this sketch group to be like, cheer up, guys, it's only bloody comedy. And everyone was like, this guy's an absolute anus. And so that was sort of the first time I met Ed. Then Ed got into the sketch group and I didn't. And I was told by one of the members, who's like, you're in your first year. We let Ed in because there's a couple of people who are in their first year, but there's a lot. But he's like, basically, just go and audition again next year and you'll be in the group. So I basically went to watch the shows being like, I wonder if maybe I will get into this and do this. And I went to watch all of the shows and I thought Ed was so fucking funny. And then I did the audition process, met him again when he was auditioning me for the group, got into the thing, and then we sort of went on a night out as a kind of welcome to the group. And so I was in with Tom Neenan, who I also went to university with, but who I was friends with because we lived next door to each other. And so we kind of went on this night out. Me, Tom, Hannah was another person who just started. And so there were three of us joining this group. And like that night, literally that night, Ed and I got in a river and sank a boat.
What?
We got literally...
metaphor?
No, literally. We got in a... We were...
I know Ed
a lot
was
of times,
big,
like,
but I don't know.
Ed and I were... Ed was bigger and I was the size I am. And so we... Two of our friends, Pete and Tom Neenan, jumped in the river like via this boat because we'd all got hammered and decided that we were all of the women were like, we are not getting in the river. If you want to do this, you could do this.
Yeah.
And then these two, I'll say it, skinny bitches, managed to skim the surface of the boat and land in the water and then come back out and do the same thing.
Oh, no.
Gamble and I like jump. It was like a Simpsons gag. Like the speed at which the boat was underwater and we were underwater was absolutely astonishing. And like, but like Ed and I went from like
An
two people that.
Extraordinary sight. It would have been so
I mean,
funny.
incredible. It's James Acaster's favourite thing. Every time he goes past Durham on the train, he just imagines us at university and starts laughing to himself. Like, what are you laughing about? It's just like the thought of you two just running. He's like, you're always running around. In my mind, you're always just running around Durham. But like, we went from like being people who like vaguely knew each other to like, we're going to be best friends. And we're still we're still best friends now. Like, we're still...
There's quite a lot of fast friends. Is there something like, what's the trigger? What's like in one night that you go, oh, we're gonna be really good friends, as outside sinking a boat?
I think with people with like Nikesh and Bisha, there's like we went in with a lot of recommendations from other people. That's really helpful. Sometimes that can be off-putting when people keep going, oh my God, you've got to meet X, you two would get along.
Yeah,
So,
it's blind date.
Yeah, but actually, in both of those cases, it was completely correct. And actually, a lot of the people that I then met through The Good Immigrant, we had so much like positive reinforcement on the idea that we would get along because we had so much shared experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also, I do think like a shared sense of humor is really important, and like it can. If you both laugh at the same weird thing, it can be really, really positive. It can be really positive.
It's quite telling about who they are.
Yeah, I think anytime I met somebody that had The Simpsons Complete Guide to Our Favourite Family, the episode guide of The Simpsons, I was like, well, that's like 50% of it. Like, that's sort of like, and like so many people my age had the same 5 DVDs, had the office, the UK office, knew that the US office was good, and also owned Arrested Development, the first Stuart Lee stand-up show. It's called Stand Up Comedian, Brass Eye, and Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Everybody had those. So many people I became friends with all have the same frames of
Nighty
reference.
Night was my that.
Nighty
like,
Night, yeah,
similar
Nighty Night is
world
a
of
similar thing, yeah.
People kind of going, like anytime someone was like, I saw that on SBS with the Chilean Australians kind of going, I didn't get it. And it was like, well, we're never gonna fully connect.
We're not the same flavour.
And 30 Rock, I think, as you get older now, is the new thing of like, oh, it's a perfect show. I mean, it's good they've taken a couple of those episodes down. Like there's a proviso to it, but it's also like
there's a caveat, but
but it's also like a perfect like
Oh,
reference point.
Tom Neenan would always be like, you've got to watch X. You've got to. You like he was the first person who was like, you got to listen to Mark Maron's podcast.
Mhm.
He was very pro. I think 30 Rock might be the only thing I watched before either Tom or Ed watched it, because I just caught it by chance late on a kind of weird subsidiary Channel 5 channel. And there's a bit in one of the episodes, and you talk about like little moments where you're like, oh, I know that I'm going to be friends with, or I know my friends are going to love this. There's a bit in one of the, maybe the second or third episode where Liz Lemon assumes that Tracy Jordan can't read.
Yeah.
And there's a point in it, there's various things that happen in it, but there's a point in it where she says, you have to read the scripts out loud. And he says, I can't do it. My comedy is like jazz that you laugh at. And then he acts out jazz that you laugh at. And so he just goes, blitter, 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 and I can watch that happen, go, I'm going to watch this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And also go, oh, Ed and Tom are going to fucking lose their minds.
Yeah,
are
yeah.
going to lose their minds about this. Like, there are so many times where, like, there are so many things that happen, like, where Acaster will go, oh, I saw this thing, and then he'd stop, and he'd go, I'm not going to tell you, because I actually think you should experience this for the first. You should experience this.
It's a very shared, I think, when you fight, but at school it'd be, for me, like when the galas were on TV, there was a group of us that watched them and no one else did. And so then there was a day where we'd all come to school the next day and be like, did you see that Maria Bamford lady? What is going on with her? And like talk about it, and someone had taped it on VHS and then we'd pass the VHS around. Like, I don't know, it's like there's a feeling, and I wonder if now the way that like not being in a monoculture in the same way, everyone's kind of seeing the same memes at the same time, and it's taking intimacy out of finding things.
I will say, I think that there are a lot of young people who have really gone hard into comedy via Taskmaster. Like I know for a fact we are still making young nerds.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact that we are absolutely still. I see them at shows. They are.
Yeah.
And
big on blue hair, low on eye contact.
And whenever I see them, I'm like, yeah, thank God. Like, thank God you're. It's a really shrewd observation. But whenever I see them, I'm always like, and sometimes I have said this to them after shows when they wait outside the stage door. I'm like, I'm still glad. I'm glad that we're still making you.
Yeah.
Like there are still geeks. Like my cousin is 19, and you know you've both met him because he lives in Australia. When the last Tyler not the last one, the last but one Tyler the Creator album came out, he listened to it, and I said, how was it? And he just sent me back a screen grab from Tyler the Creator's Instagram that said, please do not discuss this album with people who haven't heard it. I want them to experience it for the first time. And he was like, I cannot talk about this with you until you've listened to the album. And I was like, oh, we're still making these dweebs.
Yeah.
Like, we're still... And, you know, when I was a kid, I, like... force my parents to go. It's like when people said you get distracted by if there's like young kids in your audience. You're like, no, I know those kids. I was those kids.
Totally.
If I see a 13-year-old with their concerned looking parents, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly who that kid is. That was me and my brother. When I was
Do you want this or porn? Those are the choices.
It's either a 40-year-old man screaming the word cunt about the government
or comedy.
Me and my friends used to go watch Ross Noble. We used to go all the time and watch Ross Noble. Like, we absolutely loved him. We would, you know, comedy is a great like bonding thing because I think it says something about. There's probably something that's like a shared sensibility. Also, it is incredibly important that your friends can make you laugh, regardless of like. And that's completely separate to comedy. And sometimes people who aren't in comedy will say stuff like, "Oh, it must be so funny when a bunch of comedians get together," and you're like, "Yeah, it is. It's really funny."
Yeah.
But it's also really funny. It should be really funny when you're hanging out with your friends. Like, it should be a lot of like, you know, people losing their minds laughing because someone's, that there should be like a shared. I'm not. I don't think it's the be all and end all. Certainly, if you'd asked me when I was in my early 20s, that would be my only criteria. And you certainly realise as you get older that there are things other than a sense of humour that are
Not a sex offender.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
Yeah, it becomes a list of
Speaking of former
not.
friends,
Yeah.
Well, I first met Louis when we were starting out in New.
we were doing a split bill. I think it was Russell. It was Bill was there. Pick a bill, whatever bill you think I mean.
I mean, it's. I think, but there. Whenever people say it must be a real laugh when you all hang out. I'm like, yeah, it really is. Like, I'm friends with some of the funniest people in the world.
Yeah.
But that should be true of your friendship groups. Like
Yeah,
that,
of
it
course.
should be true of all of your friendship groups. So there are people that you have known for so long that can make you laugh till you're insensible. That's
well, also,
all
I
about.
think like comedians are very funny, but they will never be as funny as just like your friends talking about your
Yeah, yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think there's nothing funnier than that.
Yeah.
And
You're in jokes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the in jokes.
There's
and
something
the-
funnier about someone not like comedians, not in a bit way, but we're all trying to make each other laugh and
Yeah.
stuff. People like the funnier people I know are not in the business.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's fucking infuriating.
Well, our third topic is former friends.
Well, I'm going to cheat this
Mhm.
slightly and say Amy Annette.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Because
that, yeah.
Amy Annette and I were friends before we took up with one
I
another.
love it.
How long were your friends
Up.
I am 100% sure that is something Ron Swanson says in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think it's funny. I remember there is an episode of Parks where he's trying to explain his exes are like a running joke in the show, and there's definitely an episode where he says, "Yeah, the first Tammy," where he says, "It was I think she was the midwife that delivered him." I think that is the lore of that
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
She's a midwife that delivered him at the hospital, and then they started going out. And
Oh
he
my
says
God.
it was quite the scandal when we first took up with one another. And that turn of phrase made me laugh.
And it's, what's the name? It's the
so
Broadway
much.
actress.
Patricia Clarkson.
Patricia Clarkson.
It's so, like little bits of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that again, that's like part of like a shared
Yeah.
Yeah.
little odd turns of phrase.
Yeah.
What made you fall in friend with Amy Annette?
So Amy Annette was producing a show in the Edinburgh Fringe, and me and Tom Neenan were doing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe, a hugely ill-advised sketch show that was a parody of cultural magazine shows.
You don't
on
need to
British
say
television.
ill-advised before you say sketch show.
Yeah, that's
It was
Assumed
commercially
knowledge.
unviable, but it did sort of build
Right.
the working relationship
we've
that
all
we then
done
took
Edinburgh
into TV show.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
course.
I know, but not all of you have done Edinburgh under the name The Gentleman of Leisure in a show that's called An Hour of Too Much Culture, and a follow-up show called The Death of the Novel.
Beautiful. And when was this?
2010. The first one was
2
2010.
years from now.
Yeah. This is an idea.
Yeah, I'm like Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen. Like, my past is happening to me continuously. It's 2010, and I'm losing money at the Edinburgh Fringe. It's 2017, and I'm losing money at the Edinburgh Fringe. She and I were at the same university, but she will ensure that I always caveat that by saying at different times. So I left, and then she joined the year after. So 2007, I graduated. October, she joins our university. And then through those kind of university networks, she ended up producing a sketch show that a bunch of my friends were doing. And me and those friends and Tom Neenan were all living in one of those huge like houses in Edinburgh
Oh, wow.
that is so poorly ventilated.
Yeah.
And like and everybody is like Tom and I were sharing a room, and I was like sleeping on a like weird bunk bed that was attached to the ceiling. Like it was one of those weird like
the
attic
washing.
things. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was so weird.
You get cranked up in the evenings.
And so you
Up into the heat.
yeah, basically, yeah. It was so funny because no one had any dignity in that room because Neenan was sleeping kind of on a fold-out bed that had broken, so he couldn't fold it down properly. So he was just like sleeping up, like he was a hospital patient, and I was like hanging off the ceiling, like I was like an extra person in Charlie Bucket's household. Like it was.
When you realise this is the city that Harry Potter was
Beautiful.
written, you start to realise Is this what happened to her
Understand
brain?
what it's about.
Is this what happened?
There was a lot of graffiti on that bed that said trans women aren't women.
And she had a lack of oxygen.
Lots of drawings of goblins and their power over the banking system.
So Amy was in that house.
So Amy's in that house. So that's how we met. So we became friends after that Edinburgh. And we were friends for 2 years before we started going out. So we were actually friends. And
Did you have little fancies for each other, do you think?
well, she actually asked me out.
Oh.
About 6 months before we first started going out, she asked me out. And I said no.
The audacity.
The audacity.
My word.
In fairness to me, I was in
A sketch group.
You were not of sound mind.
in fairness to me, I was in a sketch group, which I think we can all see as code for bad place mental health wise.
Yeah.
I was really in the depths of a sketch group.
Mummy has to go away for a while. She's going to perform in a sketch group for a little while.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was really skitting hard at the time.
Yeah.
And I basically was like, I don't think it's a good idea to bring anyone into this particular sketch group. I think this sketch group is kind of slightly spiraling, and I think possibly it's not a great idea for me to bring somebody else into these skits.
Yeah.
Because some of these skits are getting really dark.
Yeah. Good self-awareness.
And there was a point where, and like, it was, you know what, it was not a good decision because actually, you know, she really helped me out of the sketch group when we did eventually start going out with each other.
Yeah.
But I had a few.
Started talking to a director.
There were a few in the sort of
Started writing
period.
things down. Journaling.
I love sketch comedy. I don't know why I participated
Me
in
too.
it.
Me too. But sometimes the dramaturg is a good idea. And on the NDIS, you can get some great dramaturgs.
Yeah, and yes, I think in retrospect, it probably would have been nice to have some company in that particular sketch group. But in fact, I thought at the time, I was like, I just need to manage the skits. And then some of the skits got real bad. Some of the skits got real bleak.
Oh.
And then sort of later, probably about 6 months later, we then did the most traditionally British thing. In flight, we got absolutely hammered and got off with each other.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, and
that's
that
pretty
was-
Aussie too, to be fair.
It was pretty, it was pretty Aussie. And then but it was, I can't necessarily recommend it to everybody, but it was good. Like, it did mean that we started the relationship with a level of like intimacy. Yeah, and also like, you know, you have to sort of, there are certain things that you navigate as a couple, and it helps if you have like a shared language and also like a kind of shared bond and a bit of trust going into it. And also you know, there was probably a level of comfort that I needed to say to her, like, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I have almost no relationship history. There is going to be a lot of on the job learning, and I would urge patience on your part.
rewrites.
Yeah, and she was like, I also have no real relationship history to speak of, so let's work out how we do this piece by piece.
Yeah.
And so I do think it helped. I cannot advise everyone to do it. You know, when people are single and they like just don't know how to meet someone, you're like, here's what you do: you go to the Edinburgh Fringe, and you enter
Fuck
into
a friend.
yeah.
Have you tried fucking a friend?
I will say,
Reject a friend and then fuck a friend.
yeah. I will say it's a hell of a dice roll. You've got to hope that thing comes up sixes, because it's only
Did
going to
that
go
play a
one of two
part
ways.
in you saying no to begin with?
That
Were
was
you
also,
worried
I think, a
about
part of
losing
it,
a
because
friend?
I was like, I think, you know, I really like her and I don't want to like end up screwing her over. And like, it's hard because you do have to take, at some point in your life, you have to take an emotional risk.
Yeah.
And I'm really pleased that we ruined our friendship.
Yeah.
I'm
Did you
really
have-
pleased that we comprehensively torched our friendship.
After that moment, after that drunken night, did you have a moment the next day where you're like, oh, well, what do we now?
There was definitely a moment. There was definitely a moment of what are we now? But then, and this is a very strange story. She is American, and she not by voice, to be clear.
No.
I'm aware that people who are listening to this can also seek out her voice. She's also a comedian.
Yeah.
And if I say she's
Very
American, they'll
good
be
one.
like, this fucking Mary Poppins ass lady. Like,
Yeah.
She has the most English accent possible.
Yeah.
She's born in this country, but her dad is American. And so truly
deal.
3 days. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, same deal. And 3 days later, she was going in 2012 to volunteer for the Obama re-election campaign. That was already planned.
Wow.
So she's like, I'm going to Ohio to volunteer for Obama.
That's where Reese and Amy differ.
Yeah,
That's where the stories diverge.
Reese actually went to the Trump re-election
Yeah,
campaign.
Yeah, different paths.
I was for Kerry that year.
But so she basically was like, I'm going to go away for a month. We have to make a decision about what we do. And so then...
I mean, for a month is quite funny to me now in the
I
context
know.
of us as
It's so
touring.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
but
so funny. It was nothing. But at the time, you're like, we have to sort of decide. It's
Yeah.
very funny as well because we have to commit to each other because of
Yeah.
all this sex I'm having. It would have been absolutely unnoticeable. It's not like I was like it would have been complete. Would have made no difference to my lifestyle whatsoever. At that point, it would have made absolutely no difference.
Yeah.
So then we were just like, okay, let's give it a go. So then we basically emailed for a month.
Aw.
And then she came back, and we've been together since. So, like, something useful came of the end of the friendship.
In some ways, Amy could probably be the person that's in the final category
Yes.
of friend here today. But who have you chosen as a forever friend?
Well, I've chosen there's a bunch of people I could do. Obviously, Amy is that's the main aim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what we all call it.
The main aim.
The main aim for me and Amy is to
She
maintain.
is the main Amy.
Yeah. She's definitely that's the goal. And I think, to be honest, everybody that I've mentioned are people that I hope to stay. Like, I think it would be really funny. Like, Ollie and I go and watch Man United games at the pub near our house. I think it'd be really funny for us to be in our old age continuing. That would
I
be
love
really
that.
nice.
Yeah.
And so everybody that I've mentioned is somebody that I hope. But I would probably say we can probably bring in Acaster here at this point. So, like, he is like somebody who's like, he's sort of, there's an idea. There used to be an idea. I feel like this is a very 1990s thing, that the way you define your friendships is who would pick you up from the airport. And I feel like that category of friendship has gone by the wayside. I guess in London because of the Elizabeth line and the excellent transport links
It is good. It was a great idea. Took a long time,
Wi-Fi.
but I think on balance, a good idea.
Like, I do wonder.
Heathrow is far to drive.
But there's no airport.
Are you saying that the Elizabeth line was nearly your forever friend?
Yeah.
No, Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth. Well, Queen Elizabeth is. Well, actually, she's not. The real forever friend for me is Lady Diana, forever and ever.
Of course.
God,
Yeah.
But
That's
a moment's silence.
former
A moment's silence.
no, she's always a friend for me. Pour one out.
Yeah.
Pour one out for Lady Diana. But like, I feel like that was the thing. That was the metric. Maybe in like sitcoms in the 90s.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
who's gonna
It
come?
was.
And now I feel like, does anybody go and pick anybody up from the air? It was a big part of my childhood. My dad used to travel quite a lot for work, so we used to have to get him. We used to go and get him from the airport all the time. It's quite a fun thing to
So
do.
nice when someone does.
I don't
Yeah.
drive, so Karen has
got
to come and get me.
Such a fantasy of having someone with a little sign. Still, I want to do the arrivals lounge with the little sign saying Georgia. And just if you're out there, please. I'll marry you.
May I recommend
all it'll
doing
take.
a corporate?
Oh no, guys, things have gone bad. George has married a limousine driver.
Hey, it worked for Shirley Bassey. Oh no, not Shirley Bassey. Who was it?
Tina Turner.
It
Tina
worked for
Turner married
her limo
that
driver.
turned up with a sign that said Tina Turner.
No, but he was like the guy that looked after her, and
Yeah,
and
right.
she,
When I went to Australia in 2022, my aforementioned cousin did turn up with a big sign
It's
to
so
pick me up. Well, his
Said
parents.
Romash rang it.
Well, no, it actually said Madam Lily, which is the name him and his sister called me
Oh,
for reasons that
cute.
remain beyond my powers of understanding.
I don't think people do that anymore, though. I mean, Uber's quite cheap, I guess, in Australia. Like, it doesn't. It's
But I think the new version of that is who is going to come and pick you up when you are in a sketch group.
Yeah.
Who is going to, if I may return to a brief,
Yes.
Brief analogy.
Yeah.
who, and
As we recommit.
yeah, I would say in September, I was in one hell of a sketch group. Oh, I was in Monty
yeah.
Python. Oh, the kids were in the hall.
With the Lincoln Gentleman.
I was smacking that pony. Oh my God.
There was some
I
silly
was in-
walks.
What? I was, Second City, here I come.
Oh, yes.
I was deep in the depths of a sketch group.
Yeah.
And
Very nearly a dead parrot.
I was hoping for a call up from SNL. Oh, I was aiming for one. And unfortunately, Amy was out of the country and my therapist was on a health emergency. So I was in a real bit of a sketch group. And like a lot of people appeared out of the woodwork to try and recommit me to stand-up comedy. But Amy called James and was like, you have to go and pick our friend up because our friend is in a bit of a sketch group.
Yeah.
Well, he
And-
performed in a few sketches himself.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, and I think probably that's part of it. James and I have been in some
Yeah.
similar sketch groups at
Yeah,
different
yeah.
times to each
Yeah.
other.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so Amy was like, you have to go and get our friend out of this skit. And he did. And you'd think that's one of the things where you think, well, that's probably a person you have to keep in your life forever, basically. If somebody is willing to come and liberate you from the confines of short form.
Yeah.
And spend the time.
Yeah. And somebody is willing to
Listen and
listen. And as the week went on, I should say, like, my friend Nikesh did also do some time off his own back, having spotted hints in conversation that I might be getting a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
But like, I did think it was Amy was like, because like my family and I are very close, but I don't think I think we are still like moving through the process of being able to talk about mental health as a
Yes.
group, and we are learning about it. And so I think it would still have been like probably quite a difficult conversation for her to have. But
James is someone, I think the longer that we've known him, when you first meet him, you meet the stand-up version of him.
sure.
You meet the character version.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you realize how, like, complicated in a good way as a person he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And, like, I'm also imagining there's some absolute deep comedy in me imagining him and you in a house while you're having a full sketch group. and it's him. Like, there is something visually funny about that.
Well, no, like I think, unfortunately, this is probably not a particularly healthy thing, but I think the shame of somebody having to be called, I think the shame of like was the thing
Right.
that slightly snapped me out of it, which in the long term is not what you want. Like, you don't want to feel so embarrassed that you like kind of it sort of acts as a kind of smelling salts. But yeah, there is definitely something funny about me and Acaster sitting in a house and him being like, so you've had an interesting couple of days, and you're like, yeah.
Well, I remember, the night you talked about the karaoke night.
Yes.
I'd seen his work in progress show, and then we were having a drink afterwards with Stuart Laws, and he was texting you. And we can cut this out.
I've been in so many sketch groups.
Yeah.
In September, I was really skitting it up. No, please continue, because you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct.
He didn't give much away, but he just sort of said, "Oh, Nish isn't feeling entirely safe right now, so
Yeah.
I'm just sort of texting him through this." He
Yeah.
was sort of half talking to us and half keeping an eye on
Correct,
his phone,
yes.
and then he was like, "Let's go meet him at the train station."
Yeah.
And that's how
I had a panic attack on the train.
yeah.
Because, like, I think, I mean, I've spoken about this quite a lot, but, like, I am in a position that if I was not me, I would understand it's deeply hilarious. Because I am a comedian who largely talks about politics, who keeps having panic attacks because of the news. Like, there is a
Yeah.
real element of Gardner with hay fever situation going on here.
Yeah.
So, like, I think the race riot stuff, it's very funny because it's you sort of feel, you're like, there's like an element in like Catch-22. There's a point where Yazarian keeps saying, they're shooting at me. And someone's like, they're shooting at everybody. And he's like, yeah, but some of that's coming at me. So I think in my head, like, I am like so in September, when there was a lot of this stuff had happened over the summer, I was on a train back from Manchester, and they were just like, I didn't realize I was in a state of hyper alertness because of, this like, and it's like everybody's spooked, like people of color in the UK at the moment are spooked about it. Unfortunately, it's also somehow spreading to Ireland now as well, which is a real shame because that country is doing a lot in terms of changing its dynamics and social dynamics. But nobody did anything bad to me. Like the train, I just suddenly some subconscious part of me on the train was like, you are suddenly vulnerable. There was a group of very drunk men who were being very drunk. And I've been on trains, for 15 years. I can't drive and I'm a stand-up comedian. So being on a UK train is one of the most natural states in the world for me. And suddenly these guys were being like very loud, not in a way that was, to be clear, in any way racist, nothing about it. It was just some part of my lizard brain was just like, oh my God, oh fuck. And so I was like, I started having a panic attack. And so he was like, how was the gig? And I was like, I'm really having a panic attack here. And then him and Stuart Laws appeared at Euston Station.
And I remember thinking, what a lovely friend. I just remember thinking, that's really nice. He's checking in on you. He's keeping very much in touch. Yeah. And then was like, okay, I think we should go meet him at the station. We're like, okay, we're doing that now. Yeah. But without giving away anything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you sort of, when people are doing that level of stuff for you, you're like, oh, this is a person you've got to keep in your life.
Yeah.
You know, like these are people you've got to keep around you.
Yeah.
Because that is, to sort of return to our opening conversation, the people who are the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
On Friday, we're going to DJ together at the Clapham Grand, and it will be
that's bonding.
Yeah.
Two middle-aged men.
There's nothing further away than a sketch group
jumping around.
Than DJing at the Clapham Grand.
But
that's the cure, baby.
If you have that, the highs and lows, and also like I think he's always maybe a little bit more alert when Amy's not in the country, because as she wasn't then and later on in the month. When she's away, I got a real propensity for sketch.
Yeah.
and there is also other stuff going on because of this kind of, the stuff that's going on in the news. It's all linked to. I have like post-traumatic stress disorder from a period where I was getting death threats. Yeah. So there's all this stuff that's kind of in the ether.
Well, by the time this airs, I think that'll all be sorted out.
I think by the time this comes out, we will be.
Yeah, it'll all be good.
I think we will.
This will all be Ireland.
But I think that's also.
By the time this comes out, I'll be in an El Salvadorian gulag under the direct order of Prime Minister Nigel Farage. Unless this comes out in the next 20 minutes.
It is, and such different stakes. But it is interesting where as a queer person, and again, very different stakes. But I remember we were on tour. Was it here or we were on tour somewhere else? And I'm never, the way that I dress, the way that we were walking to a show, and there was just a moment, and it was exactly the same thing. I didn't have a panic attack, but there was a moment of, there was just a group of lads, and I was dressed in one of my clowny jackets and full makeup on, and just got suddenly very they're going to kill me. And of course they won't. No. But it's funny that there's just this
But that's not coming from nowhere. That's not coming from nowhere. We are seeing, we're seeing kind of over transphobic, homophobic, misogynist, racist rhetoric just being normalized. And that has consequences for those of us who sit in any of those groups for our day-to-day lives. Because the reality is our parents are calling us and going, are you safe? I'm fucking 40 years old and my mum is calling me and saying, are you safe going home? From coming, walking, moving around the world at the moment.
And it completely changes the context of the behavior that you see on the track.
Yeah.
Because before it was just like a group of drunk people.
Yeah.
And now it's a group of drunk people where, oh, hang on, I've seen people do this. I've seen this other stuff happen.
Yeah.
What if this is that? Because I can't tell these behaviors apart.
And also you sort of understand, I kind of get my brain more now because there's this kind of, I have an anxiety disorder that is then also compounded by ADHD, which I didn't realize how close those two. So you've got bad information just being fired around a
Amped
pinball
up.
machine, like
Yeah.
just bang, 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 bang.
Sound
bang, bang.
familiar, Kyron?
Actually,
No, I've never seen that sketch.
there was a reason why I was looking directly at Reese. So it's, you know what it's like it's bad information that is then just being fired
Yeah.
around. It's like it is like a pinball machine, but the pinball has just got the worst possible things a human brain can conceive of firing around in there. And so you do like understand, you know, oh, okay, that's partly why I'm having this reaction. So it's not just the fault of the news.
And you put yourself out there far more than most people.
Oh, I'm out there.
Which is why I mean, you talk publicly about politics and you have your podcast, Pod Save the UK, available in all the great places. But which is a very, you know, it's a very generous thing to do that has a very real effect on you.
That clip, I reckon I share it once a month. And I was going to bring this up anyway, either off pod or on pod. But the clip of you saying about how they don't even have a new guy
Yeah.
is such a perfect piece of, like, whatever the positive word for rhetoric is. Comedy? But
What
it's
is comedy if not positive rhetoric?
But it's such a perfect logical sum up of that, and I think it is funny, it is haha, but it is also I think it is what you do, which is provide comfort with intense logic.
Yeah.
Like that is a deeply logical way to look at that.
Yeah, but at that point I was also bananas in that clip. I was fully bananas because the same thing had happened.
Oh, there's
to
an
me again.
energy to it, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you feel like having gone through that with James, that you've had like a sort of step change in a relationship? Did you do? Is there a noticeable like, oh, we are closer after being there for each other?
I mean, it's just happened over so many years.
Yeah.
You know, with a
Yeah.
lot of these people now, like with a lot of these people I've mentioned on this show, we're talking like decades of of build and build and build. And like James and I have like met on the open mic circuit, and we've like lived together, you know, at points because we were doing Edinburghs, or at other points because he had to move out of his flat because his girlfriend broke up with him. Like all of this stuff that has happened in our lives that you sort of realize cumulatively, like over a long period of time, that your relationship has changed. But I don't think you're as conscious of it. You just said, for me, it was more retrospectively. I was like, oh shit, that is the person that Amy called. Like at that time, you know, and like then Nikesh showed up. Like I said, Nikesh was like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And I was like, "Yeah, all good." And he was like, "Hey, I'm in town on Tuesday. Maybe I stay at your house."
Nice.
You know, and like, yeah, and like, there's been a lot of times where like in the last few years where like there's like a text group that I'm like a couple of text groups with people where you're like, you know, it starts as like a jokey thing, and then like somebody's ill or somebody's parents are not well, and you suddenly realize, oh yeah, our relationships have changed because we've been friends for so long that you sort of realize without really realizing it, you have these kind of support networks around you, and you have these people who you like, you've lent on so many times that it becomes second nature to them, and that's the great thing about maintaining friendships as you get older, you know, is that you've been through some real shit with these people, and you've looked people in the eye and like said, you know, are you okay? And like meant and wanted to know the answer, not as a kind of gesture towards polite conversation. You've sat across from a table from somebody and said, do you need to tell me anything? Shall we talk about this? And you know, there's sometimes like a penny drop moment where you realize like, oh, this thing, but more often I'd say you retrofit your understanding that the relationship has shifted. Yeah. Something happens, somebody turns up, you realize that things have maneuvered.
Suddenly you look around and you're in the X-Men.
Suddenly, yeah. Not a comedian, my ass.
Nish Kumar, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. What a pleasure.